Hi, I'm Troy and you're watching TroyTube, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use Gmail to host your email branded as your your domain name and your website for free. Now we're going to do this by forwarding email from our web server and mail server over to a free Gmail account and kind of tricking Gmail to sending the email on your behalf for your domain, and you can tell it to not appear as an @gmail.com address. Now you can also use that gmail.com address interchangeably too, but we are going to get into some technical settings. We're going to edit some DNS settings. We're going to talk a little bit about SPF records, which is Sender Policy Framework, and tweak a couple settings, so you're going to want to pay close attention to this. When you do test back and forth with your email to make sure it's working, give it a few minutes, be patient, and give it time to work itself out before you decide it's not working and you start changing settings. A lot of times people will change a setting, it doesn't work right away, and then they start changing more settings and compounding the problem when really all they had to do was wait. So if you're certain you have your settings in there correctly the way I show you on the video, just be patient, follow it closely, and do some testing. Again, we're going to get into a few more technical things here, but it's not overly complicated, I don't think, but so I think you should be able to follow along just fine and make this happen. It's a great way to host your email with Gmail and have something that's a little more dependable and a little more secure than just hosting a regular POP and SMTP account on your web server. It'll probably filter out more spam, be safer against viruses and things like that. So it's just a different way, and there's a couple different ways I'll explain to you to do this towards the end of the video, but the way I'm going to do it is basically forward your email, and then Gmail is going to be told to send as this user. But you'll see that there's more to it than that. So I'll switch over to the computer and we'll get started. Now, in order to do this, we're going to need two things. We're going to be working on two pieces, and one is in our cPanel. We're going to go back to our hosting control panel, and then we're also going to be working in our free Gmail account. As you can see at the top, I've set up a Gmail account called TroyTubeblog@gmail.com. And of course, this has all the free features that comes with the Gmail with Google Drive, Sheets, Docs, Photos, and all those great tools that they provide for you using their account. And over here in cPanel, we're going to add an email forwarder. So the first step is we're going to come over here to the forwarder. If you have multiple domains, you can select the domain here. We're going to click Add Forwarder, and I'm going to make this Troy at TroyTubeblog.com, and we're going to put in the email address we're forwarding to. We click Add Forward, and now the forwarder has been added. And next we're going to come over here to our Gmail account, and we're going to do a few things in here. First, we need to change the security settings. So we're going to go to our little menu here, this little grid of dots, and then click on the account icon. Yours may look a little different depending on what's up there for your user icon, but look for the one that says account. Then we're going to go down to security, and we're going to select the option that says less secure app access, and we're going to turn that on. Now, this basically allows other email software to connect to your account. So if you were to use something like Mozilla Thunderbird or something like that, usually you're going to have to turn this off, so it's not really that big of a security concern there. Then we're going to come back to our Gmail account. We're going to click on the gear at the top right and click See All Settings. And then we're going to go to Accounts and Import. Then we're going to click Add Another Email Address. And we're going to put in our forwarder that we put in over on our control panel and leave it selected as Treat as an alias. And the next step is where we're going to make some changes here. What it really wants to do is it wants to send the mail from your mail server, but the whole point of this is to get Gmail to send your email for you and have it branded and have it look like your branded website email address. So instead of that, we're going to put in smtp.gmail.com, and then we're going to put in our Gmail address and our password, just like we're logging in the Gmail. We're going to set this to port 465. Then we're going to click Add Account. And it's going to send us a code to verify that we're able to send and receive as this user. So after a minute or so, you should get this in your inbox, and I'm going to click on that, and we're going to get this code. And now our email is set up to be able to send as our user, and we have one more final step here. We're going to go back to the settings and the accounts and import tab, and we're going to click on this and click make default. And so this is going to make it so that this is always our default send and receive email address. And now if I send an email, you'll see that the email came into my other email account as from me, but it's giving me a warning here, and it's because of a couple security settings that probably need to be set up on my email server to allow Gmail to send on my behalf. And you see that it appears that it's from me. It says via gmail.com, which means that's where it came from, so it looks pretty nice there. But we're going to change a setting that will affect how it appears to be coming from Gmail, when in fact it should be, more seamless and less intrusive there, without any warnings or chances of going to the spam folder. So we're going to go over to our cPanel account and make a few changes here. And the places we're going to make this is in the zone editor. So we're going to click on the zone editor, and we're going to be working with our DNS settings for our email. And so we're going to click on manage by our domain name. And we're going to go down through here and look for some text records and see if there's already an SPF record. So SPF is a sender policy framework. And what it does is it tells other mail servers who is allowed to send email on your behalf. Now you see there is already one set up here. So I'm going to add to it. I'm going to edit this. And what I'm going to do is right before this include here, I'm going to add, I'll make this a little bigger so you can see it. On one line, it's a little bit easier to read. Basically, it says my SPF record. It's allowing this IP address. It's including the Google SPF record as well as the SPF record from my actual mail server where my website is hosted. And this will take a little while to take effect. By default, the time to live on this is 14,400 seconds, which is 4 hours. Sometimes it starts working a little bit sooner, but we'll give this time to start working okay, and then we'll try this again. And actually, I just waited a couple of minutes and did another test, and it came through absolutely clean without any problems at all. And you can still see, if I go back to the original message, it still has this. So I had not clicked like look safe or anything like that to add it to a whitelist as far as safe senders and things like that. So it looks like everything is pretty clean. And now my email is branded. I'm using Gmail. The emails are coming in as troy@troytubeblog.com. And as you see in my other mailbox, I hit reply to this message. It took a couple of minutes to come in, but there are some, some spam filters, things like that require gray listing delays the first time a message is sent to a user. But all seems to be well working in both directions without any issues. There's a different way you can do this. I prefer using this method with a forwarder on my mail host, which forwards over to the Gmail, and then allowing Gmail to rewrite the from address, which, by the way, when you send an email, you can choose to send as your original Gmail address or any other account. So you can have multiple accounts set up this way with forwarders as well. And I know some people that use this, and they use inbound filters to filter that emails into different folders so that they can manage it easier, such as maybe an info or a sales address or something like that. But there is a different way you can do this, and that would be to set up an actual email account on your web server, and then over here in settings for Gmail, you would need to come under accounts and import and check mail from other accounts. and then add your settings to retrieve that email. So essentially Gmail would be acting like your mail utility, like Microsoft Outlook or Mozilla Firefox, or Mozilla Thunderbird or something like that. But then you're relying on it to go get your email and bring it into the Gmail box. To me, it's a little bit simpler to have it forwarded from the other server over to your Gmail address, and then rewrite the outgoing from address and allow it to work that way. It's just a personal preference. I think it's more reliable. It's probably a little bit faster. If something were to happen here with your password to your account on your web server, it may be, you may go hours or a couple of days without realizing you're not getting your email this way, where it's a little easier to troubleshoot if you're doing the forwarding aspect of it. There are some spam filters and things over here on your web host. Different hosts will have different capabilities with this. A2 happens to have a Barracuda spam firewall. They also have some other spam filters and spam assassin and things like that. So you may want to go through those too, and maybe relax the restrictions a little bit if you can, and allow your email to come into Google, into your Gmail account, and allow Gmail to filter out for spam and viruses and things of that nature. So a couple of different ways to do that. I like the forwarding aspect and changing the SPF record to allow Google to send on my behalf. Again, you could set up an account and let it retrieve your email, bring it over to your Gmail account for you as well. So a couple of different aspects, angles that you could do that. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, post them down below.